There's a sellout crowd at Texas Stadium tonight for the Los Angeles Raiders and the Dallas Cowboys. The sellout crowd, that's not unusual, but the emotion that is riding higher in Dallas is unusual in this cool, calm establishment city, because one would think with the Raiders in town that Darth Vader is here to kidnap little orphan Annie. The Cowboy fans, they don't get up too much, neither the Cowboy players, but we've got a lot of emotion going in this one. The undefeated Cowboys already midway through the season looking for perhaps an undefeated season. They're 7-0. The last time they went 7-0 was in '77, and they won the Super Bowl that year. The Raiders, a good, strong, tough football team. They won 4 in a row. They've dropped 2 of the last 3, but they are all hands present tonight, and we're looking for quite a football game. And for the Raiders, as I turn to my colleagues, O.J. Simpson and Don Meredith, Howard Cosell not with us tonight.
The Raiders entered the stadium tonight with the #1 defense in the NFL, but that hasn't been enough. They've been victimized by a host of problems on offense. They hope Marc Wilson will solve that tonight, but they're going up against a tough one tonight, Danny, and the Dallas Cowboys undefeated.
That's right. Think what they paid that guy who's been starting all along. That's really amazing. The Cowboys played probably their best game last week against Philadelphia. They've won 7, as everybody knows, and haven't lost yet. But the game against Philadelphia showed a little bit of the spark that Coach Landry's been looking for the Cowboys. Danny White, as a starting quarterback here in Texas Stadium, started 27 ball games and has won 25 of them. Pretty good record. Yet folks still want a little bit more. Going to have a good ball game. I think the Cowboys are ready for it. So, Frank, let's get this thing kicked off.
And we are going to see the change that O.J. mentioned. Marc Wilson opening for this man, who really had himself a tough time last week against Seattle. 3 interceptions, a couple of costly fumbles, and perhaps given a little rest, we'll see Jim Plunkett later in the year. That remains to be seen. We're underway. Barr, high kick, and it goes to Rod Hill at the 6-yard line. Hill up the sideline, and Hill out close to the 30-yard line. So the Dallas Cowboys will have good field position, and Danny White trots on to the field. And Danny White, well, what can you say? He has not lost a football game this season, and still every now and then he hears the cries of "We want Gary Hogaboom." That, of course, from the fine performance of Hogaboom in the past couple of pre-seasons and in the NFC Championship a year ago when Danny White was knocked out of that game. We open with 2 tight end offense for the Cowboys. That'll be Doug Cosby and Billy Joe Dupree. The setback, Tony Dorsett. Gifted, talented offensive unit. This is Dorsett. And Dorsett taken down from behind. Lyle Alzado now in his 13th year, and a real inspiration to this defense as we look at them now. They'll change considerably. That's the front 3, but we'll see a lot of Greg Townsend, a rookie from TCU, and Bill Pickell, another rookie. Those are your linebackers, and the aging wonder Ted Hendricks just rolls along. Good secondary. Mike Davis, strong safety, suffering from a broken hand, but still in there with a covering on it. And the Cowboys, first possession, will have to punt away as Tom Landry, with that unbelievable record, 5 Super Bowls involved, and they're thinking Super Bowl down here in Dallas. You can be sure of that this year. Greg Pruitt, the veteran who has performed so well, not only for the Raiders, but for so many years with Cleveland, drops back. John Warren, his first year in relief of Danny White as a Cowboy punter, a rookie free agent out of Tennessee, will punt for Dallas. And, of course, Greg Pruitt with a fine return average. He had that big one against Washington early in the year, 97 yards. Warren hangs it up. Fair catch called for at the 30-yard line. And so the Raiders will have good field position. And already there's a little flare-up on the field. And we are going to watch Marc Wilson come out. One big, fat, new contract. Last year, Wilson only had 2 attempts. He came in last week with the Raiders in deep trouble in the 4th quarter. He was 8 of 11. He produced 2 touchdowns on 106 yards. His big year was in '81 when Plunkett had a sore thumb, and he started 9 games. He had some great moments. He had some questionable moments. But he's got a fat wallet, and there is much talk among the Raiders players, and we'll talk about that a little later on.
Well, let's take a look at the Cowboys. They will be blitzing quite a bit tonight, and you'll be seeing Wilson roll out a lot to get away from some of that pressure.
Of course, when you got a young quarterback, why not? On 1st and 10, Wilson, the big man, steps up into the pocket, and that ball batted away. Everson Walls knocking it out of the hands of Malcolm Barnwell, and there was a good surge by the Dallas defense quickly.
We'll see the end of the play. One of the best defensive backs in this game today. Everson comes up, and he had to play well defense. Actually, the Raiders were trying to roll out that time, and I think it may have messed up their timing a little bit. Too Tall Jones got in the way of the rollout.
And Everson plays the ball, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
came across, put that right hand out there and knocked it away.
2nd down and 10. The Raiders at the 30-yard line. Cowboys are covering.
A ball right there.
Marc Wilson just spinning away from the center, and there is trouble brewing at the bottom of that pile. There is some flailing going on.
There's going to be a lot of that. You know, I didn't even wait. This is his first series.
Well, Henry Lawrence made one of the cardinal mistakes. He started the fight while he was on the ground.
You know,
flags are down. You saw the recovery made by Ed Jones and the appropriate boos from the partisan Cowboy fans. It does not belie the fact that the Dallas Cowboys get the turnover, and this is what really has hampered the Raiders in the last few weeks, the turnovers, and they've turned it over in their first series. 3rd down and 8. Raiders now drop into their 4-man front with a good pass rush. This is Springs. He'll throw it, and he throws it back to Danny White.
I love it. Hot doggies. That was Tim Newsom, wasn't it?
That was a double flea flicker.
Oh, man. White. That's fun.
I say down on the goal line when you're playing a lot of man-to-man, there's nobody's assigned to cover White.
Nobody covers the quarterback, right? Well, they could have messed
great call.
Good mess Dallas up because they scored first.
Newsom does a good job of making it look like a run.
It is Ron Springs.
Springs, and he turns around left-handed.
Yeah.
That man throwing him off also.
Caught him off balance. Oh, his White got to be happy. Quarterbacks don't get to do that.
On a 3rd down and 8. The flea flicker back to the quarterback, I guess, for lack of a better way to describe it. And Dallas is on the scoreboard. Early moments of the first quarter. Rafael Septien for the conversion. Septien having a great year. And if you're wondering about the eligibility of Danny White, the snap came from the shotgun, and that makes him an eligible man. Had he been under the center, he could not have executed that play. 12:40 remaining in the first quarter. Cowboys on top 7-0. In his 4th year, had a tremendous career at Brigham Young, set 11 NCAA passing records. Looks over the Dallas defense. It's familiar. It doesn't change much. The 4-3 on a 1st and 10. Marcus Allen, he gets about 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Let's take a look at that Cowboy defense. We haven't had a chance yet. Ed Jones on the left side. It'll change considerably. There's a young man named Don Smerrick they'd like to bring in on the pass rush. Anthony Dickinson, the best of the pass defenders for that linebacking core, and we've already spoke of Everson Walls. And we will see a lot of Bill Bates, whom Don spoke of a moment ago. American, and Dallas will be forced to punt. That means once again John Warren, and once again Greg Pruitt, a dangerous return man for the Raiders, will drop.
You know, the Raiders the last few days, I was at their practice last night, and all they were talking about was Marc Wilson's contract. Going up against a team that is undefeated, you would think they'd be intense talking about that team. Shows a little here.
Warren, he just did get it off.
Lester Hayes
came close. Here comes Pruitt.
And it's set up.
It's set up beautifully.
Cut back. There you go.
Greg Pruitt, he's been doing it all year long, and he breaks a big one.
Yeah, he's been doing it for the last 10 years.
Down to the 26-yard line. In the early 70s, as a matter of fact, he returned for Cleveland. We'll watch it from the end zone. He still has those moves.
See Lester Hayes come in there, almost blocked it.
Had to affect the kick. It was not a particularly long kick, and it pulled it right over where that was set up. They had nobody there.
Here's the guy that knows what to do with the ball when he gets it. Start upfield. I would have cut back right there a fraction sooner.
That's Chris Barr. He's 6 of 10 this year. His longest has been 42 yards. Wilson is the holder. Chris Barr sends it merrily on its way and splitting the uprights, and the Raiders are on the scoreboard. They trail Dallas 7-3 with 6:59 remaining in the first quarter. 3rd down and 10. Wilson has the time, finds the receiver. It's Barnwell. He has the first down inside the 30-yard line, close to the 27.
Good protection all around that time. Had him some time. He did a good job. Wilson did a good job stepping up in that pocket.
The man that Marc Wilson replaced, sitting on the bench, taking it all in, Jim Plunkett. Nothing new for him. He's had that great roller coaster ride and had his great moments. Rookie of the year back in '71. Of course, having gone to the Super Bowl and won that Super Bowl in his 2nd year following the '80 season. Down remains the same, of course. 1st down 15. Wilson, Marcus Allen.
Good score.
Red Allen to the 5-yard line, literally hurtling over Dexter Clinkscale.
Yeah, but the move that made it work, he did a little hesitation on Bob Brunick, And Brunick was just out of it.
That's right.
He did a little,
Frozen,
what you said, put a little hitch in his get-along on him.
But that's the guy that's got to cover him. You see him come all the way out of the backfield. Heckman's going back around, too tall, couldn't quite get that high.
Now watch him do a little dip there, that little step there right here, and then take off on him.
First down, goal to go. Wilson looking for a receiver.
Got one.
And he finds one in the form of the third tight end, Derek Jensen, and the Raiders have taken the lead.
Good composure by Wilson that time. He was trying to go left, no place to go.
He was trying to go to Don Hasselback, but Jeff Rohr almost tackled him. I was surprised I didn't see a flag on that. He tackled him. That was his primary receiver. Did a good job of ad-libbing.
Cowboys have worked themselves into the situation that they like this year. They have never... Well, they have won 7 in a row, and they've come from behind each and every one of those games to win, and they have another opportunity. They've now trailed the Raiders. Chris Barr for the conversion. There's Derek Jensen. It's his first catch of the season. Puts the Raiders out on top.
Well, let's look at Hasselback here. As I said, he's been guarded by number 50, Jeff Rohr. And that was sort of held him up there a little bit, getting out there.
Rohr, the second-year man from Yale, had pretty good position, though. The other man working with him was the back of the end zone. In any event, Jensen gets it in. The Raiders are on top, 1:35 remaining in the first quarter. You saw the indication by referee tonight, Gene Barth. Offside Raiders. Down remains the same. Second down, goal to go. The ball now marked inside the 3-yard line.
They get mean and burly and tough down here. I'm talking about that Raider defense. Good challenge to that offensive line. Oh, inside. Met the challenge.
And Ron Springs takes it in from 2.5 out. And Dallas now comes back out on top. And again, the Dallas touchdown provided by a turnover.
From the high end zone, it's what we call a 40 trap.
Herb Scott was that lead blocker in there and left it up to Ron, didn't he?
You saw the trap block. Herb Scott, he's been doing it for years, has taken him to the Pro Bowl for so many times. Raiders, of course, trying to penetrate, and it's an easy block to execute down near the goal line, providing the people are where they're supposed to be. And they were. Septien for the conversion. And Dallas leads 14-10. And I think Tom wanted to make sure they didn't get one easy by throwing the ball. He wanted to run this ball in, and he got great blocking. Let's watch Dupree.
Billy Joe Dupree coming across the middle, and he made face-to-face with big Matt Millen. All you got to do, that's a heck of a block, Billy Joe.
We got a cameraman right inside the line of scrimmage. Good shot. You saw it all. We'll be back in a moment. First down Raiders, their own 46-yard line. They trail 17-10. 10 minutes remaining in the first half. Hawkins. Frank Hawkins sprints out over midfield. He's close to a first down. First and 20. Hawkins again. Another big opening.
Same play.
He'll get it in.
Yes, yes.
Frank Hawkins, left side, and now we understand why Harvey Martin perhaps is lining up as tight as he is, Deuce. Bruce Davis on that left side and Charlie Hanna are doing a number on them.
Well, they pinning him inside, and Marcus Allen's hitting the first man that shows on the outside, and Hawkins doesn't have much decision to make here. They pin him inside. Marcus Allen goes out and make the block.
Double team. Bruce Davis and Charlie Hanna rode Randy White, the all-pro tackle, out of it for Dallas. Hawkins broke behind it. Touchdown. That's what the Raiders do so well. They're so big, they're strong. Davis is 280, Hanna's 260. Marvin on one side is 265, Lawrence 270. They're big and they love to push you around.
And Marcus Allen is possibly the best blocking halfback in football. But he played fullback a few years ago in college.
Chris Barr for the conversion. And Chris Barr ties it up at 17.
Lighted the crowd a little bit, didn't it?
Shotgun. A lot of movement, no flags. Danny White looking to the end zone.
All right.
And Butch Johnson does it for the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm very impressed with that type of play. That thing, you don't have long to think about it. Total reaction. Butch Johnson's done a lot of nice things for him down here, the big play guy. Look at all these black jerseys getting real close. Zip, get rid of that ball.
Oh, so many years he's been doing this, coming off the bench, really. And
he wants to.
He started to give it the earthquake shuffle, as he calls it. Tom Landry's told him not to do it, but that's his first touchdown of the season. And he is an excitable, very emotional player.
He's
a good one.
Want to know he hadn't forgot about his California quake.
Septien for the conversion. Through the uprights, and Dallas has recaptured the lead once again.
I see it, Butch. I'm on Butch.
Yeah,
you got it.
He's had some big catches already this year. He set up the overtime winning field goal against Tampa Bay. He just seems to get open. 3:30 remaining in the half. Wilson has the time. He finds Christensen. Christensen spots the first down marker and steps right over it.
Well, that was a wonderful throw by Mark. Maybe the best one I've seen him throw tonight. He had that one right on the old clothesline. Didn't have a lot of room to throw it. Had some pressure back there.
Well, the Raiders don't have what you call your classic possession receiver. The closest person to it is Mark Christensen. It's generally unusual to use that. Todd Christensen is generally unusual to use your tight end as your possession receiver. Normally you have one guy outside.
Cowboys leading 24-17, rather. Wilson, Frank Hawkins stepped right back in front of Anthony Dickerson. Touchdown, Raiders.
And I don't think that pass was planned to be short like that. It was a poor pass, and Hawkins made a great adjustment to the ball.
You can see Dickerson look back just at the wrong time. He says, oh, no, I should have checked it.
6-6. Marc Wilson. Dickerson playing it man for man, and Hawkins read it beautifully, came back to it. Quarterback Marc Wilson handling the holding chores for the Raiders. Gets it down, Barr gets it up. We're tied up again at 24. Gary Allen is deep for the Cowboys, but this will be Ron Fellows.
Look out, Bird.
Fellows has found an opening. And Fellows finds a little gap on the right side. He explodes up close to midfield.
One of 3 players from the University of Missouri. And they call him Bird. They say he's just a little too slight.
Used to be a wide receiver, and he has the speed for a wide receiver.
Did a good job of starting towards the middle to get the pursuit to get into the middle, and he broke back outside, find a little crevice, and he was just about to break it.
Cowboys first down and 10, close to midfield.
4 seconds are on the clock. 2-1.
They'll have to snap it, and the Cowboys get it off. Into a crowd, picked off.
Should be.
The deflection taken by Otis McKinney. And little rhubarb broke out again.
He wasn't too gentle on that tackle, was he?
No, he wasn't.
Oh.
Got some pressure back there. Denny may have thrown a ball that he wishes he had back. Otis McKinney seems to be shaken up a little bit.
He really buried him. The tight end who tackled him really buried him into the surface there.
Take a look at it again. Danny White, I think you agree, Don. He probably should not have thrown this. He was under tremendous pressure, tried to squeeze it in.
There's too many dark jerseys around there. Yeah.
Watch this tackle.
Yeah, the guy that intercepted was the guy that came in late.
Oh, right on the ball.
James Davis deflected the pass intended for Drew Pearson. It was intercepted by Otis McKinney. Tom Flores was going to put Barr out there with 9 seconds remaining, maybe looking to get in a little closer for Chris Barr. He's 6 of 10 on the year. His best for the year, 42 yards. He's had misses now from 26, 36, and from 41 yards this year. He's not having a good year, and this will be a 48-yard attempt. It's a feint. Man is open.
Not by
But
much.
Wilson was under pressure.
Oh, they called the interference.
And pass interference, 3 seconds remaining.
Anthony Dickerson.
Don Hasselback, intended receiver. Wilson under pressure. Hasselback deep downfield, interfered with, and the Raiders will have 3 seconds. And boy, I'll tell you, it's going to be a tough decision.
Defensive pass interference, 51.
Looking for 7.
I like that kind of football.
A rollout to give Marc Wilson an option. Drills it into the end zone. And it's Todd Christensen. That's his 4th touchdown thus far in 2 games.
And look at Marc Wilson. He said, you bet. I'm worth a little bit more.
Well, you call it, Frank. You said that Flores didn't appear to have much confidence in Barr from 48 yards, and he didn't. And I don't think he had planned for it to turn out quite this way, but you got 6 points and possibly 7 coming up.
You saw a guy turn around in there like he's lost. Angelo King, he's a linebacker that comes in, doesn't play a lot. He did get lost. That was his man.
Another thing you can do with Marc Wilson, Don, I think, and you, O.J., I think Wilson had an option on that. If he didn't have a receiver,
that's right,
he could run it in.
It's a popular play down on the goal line.
Chris Barr for the conversion, and the Raiders have moved the ball the length of the field, and they have taken a halftime lead. 31-24. Time had expired on the touchdown pass. Marc Wilson to Todd Christensen. And let's take a look at the youngster's reaction. As he looks back and finds Christensen. He's all right, I did it.
That's right.
Happy to have the chance to begin to earn some of that $4 million.
Isn't that the truth?
Reputed $4 million.
We'll look it up, but I doubt if anybody's ever scored 31 points on Dallas in the first half. We'll have to check on that.
Defensive teams, the Raiders are #1 in the NFL. They've allowed 24. Cowboys are 4th. They've allowed 31, and here comes the Raiders. Montgomery is an opening on the outside. It's been this way all night in case you joined us late. An offensive show, to say the least, and it's a game in which Tony Dorsett, the brilliant running back for the Cowboys, has only gained 16 yards. Meanwhile, Marcus Allen has only gained 23. They have not been major factors. Raiders hurt by turnovers in the first quarter. The Cowboys capitalizing on the first 3 turnovers. They got 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Those are your halftime statistics. And we'll pick up the live action. The Raiders first and 10 the ball near their own 42-yard line. The quarterback, of course, remains Marc Wilson. This is Hawkins. And Hawkins in a sprint to the outside will get about 6 yards up close to the 48-yard line. In the lineup, number 34. That's Greg in motion. And this is Hawkins.
Good move.
Good move by Hawkins. And he'll have another first down inside the 30. And Hawkins is putting on a show tonight.
They split the hole that time. That defensive people running everywhere, blitzing safeties, linebackers.
Well, Hawkins, you got these tall defensive linemen he's playing against. He's only 5'9", and he's just ducking under these guys. And
Brunig overran it. You see right there, Bob was supposed to be king back there trying to get to the outside. He cut back.
Wilson on the night has been effective on 3rd down. He's 4 of 5. Looks over at 3rd and 6. Blitz is on. Whoa, picked off. It's Ed Jones. And Wilson tried to get that out in the flat. Ed Jones had dropped off the line of scrimmage. He is 6'9". Wilson could not get it over Ed Jones. That was another ill-advised pass.
yes, what happened there, the linebackers came, Dickerson blitz. His normal responsibility would have been Marcus Allen, but they had him blitzing, and they had Too Tall Jones playing what we call spy. He just fell out there. He figured that he can cover him for a short period of time, and he was able to do it.
Great hands.
Yeah, and he runs like he boxes.
Great hands. Swift, watch this move. Look at that.
Danny White is back.
Look out.
Going to Billy Joe Dupree, who somehow held on as Van McElroy made contact again. Pickup of only 3 yards.
And you saw Van talking to him while they were on the ground. I'm sure he was telling him that was a great catch, Billy Joe.
Are you sure of that?
Well, McElroy's a Christian. I mean, he's really a pretty straight shooter.
Nice catch.
McElroy.
He's not saying, don't come back over here again. It seems to me that Dallas, when they're throwing the ball, they fail to find one defensive player. They're always throwing, there's another defensive player they don't seem to see.
That's the Raiders. They move people around in such a funny style. Let's go, Ben. Danny White back again, gets the blitz, reads the blitz, goes to Butch Johnson, and Johnson will have a Dallas first down at the 41-yard line of the Raiders. That was a well-thrown ball under extreme pressure by Danny White.
McElroy looks a little, I think he's got an injury there. Look at it from a ground level. The Raiders they're in the defense they like to be in, pass rushing. McElroy comes across, got his head in there, got a snap on his head there. He seems to be.
Van McElroy.
McElroy is the kind of guy, though, that you talk about. He goes after them no matter where they are.
Van McElroy making sure he's in Dallas. Yeah, I'm all right. You always say you're all right, but you wonder what you're doing there.
You know, they always say, huh? You see a guy hurt, you walk over to him and say, man, you all right? Huh? You better sit here a little longer.
That's right. Repeat the question, please.
Yeah,
Danny White brings up the Cowboys. 2nd down and 10.
Beautiful play.
Well worked play. Tony Dorsett breaks one. And credit Butch Johnson with a great block at the line of scrimmage.
Absolutely.
Dorsett all the way down to the 10-yard line. Make it the 15 as they mark it out of bounds there.
That's Butch right there. Oh, big Lyle. Is that Alzado? No, that's not Alzado. Or was it? Yeah, it was, I think. That was Lyle. Good move.
And he had to be careful. He could not crack back on Alzado. He had to block him high. He did the job, and the Cowboys have a 1st down inside the 15 of the Raiders.
Well, we saw Marcus Allen make a nice run on the other end. We see Tony Dorsett come back. That's the value of having those great running backs in your backfield.
And any moment they can break it.
Any moment.
Draw play. Springs.
Didn't make it.
And defensively read so well by Rod Martin.
Well, he's a good back, but not quite a Marcus Allen or Tony Dorsett.
Final seconds expiring here in the 3rd quarter. There was a loss of 3 yards, and when we come back for 4th quarter action, it'll be Dallas. 2nd down and 13. We'll return after this from our local station. 17-yard line of the Raiders. The Dallas need points. They trail by 10. 3 wide receivers: Johnson, Drew Pearson, Doug Donnelly. Looking for Donnelly.
Got it. What a catch.
Yes.
What a catch.
Doug Donnelly, the former Ohio State record setter, who has really started to come into his own this year, sprints into the corner of the end zone, and Dallas will draw within 3.
Pretty sure that was Otis McKinney that was covering him. Not positive, but that was a beautiful, beautiful display of concentration. Once again, Doug Donnelly. That is McKinney. That ball is pretty well thrown.
Now, and you talked about what they do at halftime. They wait for situations when they know they can get this kind of coverage. Single coverage on a speedy wide receiver. As Donnelly ambles in for his first Dallas touchdown. He'll have many more. He was not even expected to play. Pulled a muscle earlier in the week. Stepped in. With the uprights. And an electrified crowd here at Texas Stadium showing their appreciation. 33-yard line. Crowd showing their disapproval.
Should have been the 5th turnover.
Whoop. Anthony Dickerson, the ball is loose. And the Cowboys,
There's your 5th turnover.
with Mike Hagman, will turn it into a touchdown.
Oh, I can't believe it.
It's been killing the Raiders all year.
Anthony Dickerson on the blitz, knocked the ball loose. It bounced around. Mike Hagman takes it into the end zone. And there's a Cowboy down. Let's listen to the roar of this crowd. Hagman got the touchdown. Anthony Dickerson the sack, and Dickerson is on the carpet at the 20-yard line.
You know, this is, in a way, sheer speculation. I hate to do that, but in this good guy, bad guy image, the Cowboys have this clean-cut image. We work hard. We're going to be in great shape. The Raiders' image, so to speak, is, hey, let's go out there and have a good time. We may not make all of our curfews. And if it's going to show up, it's going to show up in the 4th quarter, as they say. You got to win that ball game in the 4th quarter. This Dallas team appears to me to really get something going here this 4th quarter. Way to go, Anthony.
But make no mistake, the Raiders got a lot of pride. When it's time to work, they work hard. And when it's time to play, they play
Harder.
extremely hard.
I like those kind of guys. Mike Hagman, touchdown there.
You're talking to the original, Juice, about that.
I like that. That's fun, yeah.
Great defensive team effort by Dallas has put them back on top. Stepped in for the conversion. Dallas Dallas has recaptured the lead. Let's look at it again.
They say they're lucky, but I tell you, they make their luck.
Dickerson knocks the ball loose. There's a scramble for it.
There was nothing lucky about that particular play.
Was that Jones that missed it? He was trying to cover the fumble. Hegman comes in, and Bruning's trying to let it go, Bob.
A wild night in Texas. We hope you're enjoying, and we'll be back as the crowd rises to its feet.
Dallas has got to be pretty pleased they only got away with a field goal attempt here. However, you look back, they had several opportunities to recover a fumble up here about midfield a little while ago.
26-yard attempt by Bart. Marc Wilson, you must always keep in mind, is the quarterback. He's the holder.
Right through the middle.
The Raiders have drawn to within 9:40 remaining in the game. A lot of excitement from Dallas tonight. Raiders need a big play defensively.
There's Butch. No, look out. That's going to be picked off.
It's picked off.
Maybe. Whoa.
It's Ted Watts. And I guess perhaps Tom Landry thinking, well, if they pick it off, it's just like a punt.
He doesn't think that way. That was a badly thrown ball.
But it has the same effect as an incompletion followed by a punt.
Well, I don't know. If they would have tackled him right away, if the receivers would have tackled him, it would have been a great punt, the effect of a great punt. But by not tackling him, they brought the ball back to the 25.
A big guy named Bill Pickle. You don't hear much from number 71.
Two guys there. They could have tackled him inside the 10-yard line.
Now the Raiders. They have 3 timeouts. 3 minutes and 9 seconds on the clock. The Raiders trail by 1.
Oh, he did get hit.
Hello.
Bill Pickle.
Marc Wilson. He's been spectacular tonight, and he has been not so spectacular tonight. Todd Christensen. Whistle is blown. He was touched by Michael Downs, short of the first down, a gain of 8. I admire these Raiders. So many distractions at odds with the entire National Football League. Moved Oakland to Los Angeles, won an antitrust suit, which is, of course, in the appellate court now, federal court in San Francisco. That should be coming down very shortly. But they've had so many distractions. The eminent domain suit of the city of Oakland, and yet the players show up to play. Hawkins, and he'll get the first down near the 26-yard line. And from this point, Chris Barr would be looking at about a 34-yard field goal, call it 44. He'd be kicking from about the 34. They want to get him closer.
And they're going with no huddle to try to keep Dallas from making substitutions. I'm sure they'll run it. Oh, I'm a little surprised there.
Marc Wilson, Dokey Williams, Dennis Thurman was 10 yards off Dokey Williams. The undefeated season that Dallas has already talked about. The victory string of 7 in a row is on the line. A 26-yard attempt by Chris Barr.
Look at Big Too Tall winding up right there in the middle. Ball game.
Not necessarily.
No,
20 seconds remain, and the lead has changed again. The Raiders are on top, 38-40. Dallas, by the way, next week will be at Giants Stadium. And we'll see them again December the 19th, going against San Francisco. Don Springs. The ball game is over. This one is history. Any plans for an undefeated season by Dallas go out the window on the arms. And really the gutty performance of the LA Raiders. This young man, Marc Wilson.
They're a fun football team. I don't care what you say. I enjoy watching the Raiders play. They're a good football team. They play. They really do know how to play when they have to.
They sure do. They keep it interesting. I mean, even with that defense, it's 3 weeks in a row here, or 3 or 4 weeks, they've had to score at least, they had to score 40 points to win. They did what they had to do to bring home a victory.
Thank you,
40-38.
And Siri thanks you.
You're welcome.
We'll be right back. Final score, the Raiders have defeated Dallas 40-38. A dramatic moment ending an emotionally draining football game as Chris Barr puts it through the uprights to win it for the Raiders.